Hello, Go Horrors and fellow Deadites. I'm Brennan,
I'm Sam,
and welcome to our Life in Horror.
and we're doing a movie review.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
it's been a bit.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of topics and top 10s. Our last movie review, I think we just discussed, was Alien,
Yep, I think so.
which felt like a century ago. It was only a couple weeks, probably.
Yeah, it was only 2 weeks ago.
We're just doing so many of these, we're pumping them out.
Yeah.
But we have a guest today. We are going to be doing... Where is my little clip? Here.
Yep.
We're doing Dawn of the Dead 2004.
Yeah.
I've just been informed that we are going off the air and switching to the emergency broadcasting system.
And we got Matt with us.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm living the dream. It's not mine, but it's somebody else's out there. So I'm sure someone's super jealous of me, of me and my situation. But it's someone's dream.
Before we start, can you tell everyone about your podcast? So you started Macabre Daily, right? Macabre. I never know how to say that word. Macabre. Thank you.
So I can't take full credit for being the founder per se, but I was one of the founding members of Macabre Daily back in November 2020 when we all, like many people in the pandemic, were like, hey, we found our community and we need to spend some time doing anything else but doom scrolling and, worrying about when we can go outside again. So we got together. Was a gentleman by the name of Sam who initially brought us all together. And over the past few years, I've taken on a lot more responsibility. And I recently, back in May, took over full ownership of the site. So I've been running it, trying to grow it, hopefully make it a thing that me and 9 other writers can start doing more for more money. Right now we do it for free, likes, shares, donations, and hugs and kisses. But I also am lucky to be one of the 25% of the Core 4 podcast, yes. Which I know you all are quite familiar with. My good friends, Jordana, Mark, and Aubrey, who, again, we all connected through the internet. Haven't met before in person, but hopefully we will in October. We'll see. Maybe there might be a Core 4 meetup, but we're TBD, but hopefully.
That would be awesome. Yeah, you guys have to meet. You guys are like family now. Once you start a podcast with people, it's like, well, I'm with him, but he's my family anyway.
You do start to find your like regulars, and the people that you love to talk with every week. So we totally get that.
And I don't know about you all, but as I was growing up, giving access to people who I knew who liked horror movies without having to like awkwardly go through the social vetting process, like that wasn't as easy. So a lot of my horror kind of fandom and paraphernalia has always been relegated to like myself. So having to get the chance to meet more people through the internet, obviously good people, right? You always meet some wackos here on the internet. Yeah. I feel confident saying that when we all meet in person, we're probably going to feel like we are exactly the same people we've been getting to know over the past almost 2 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Matt, before we go any further, I got to know, where did you get that shirt and where can I get one?
Oh, what's the shirt?
So this is from a group, a company called Rucking Fountain. They do like their take is on they initially started as like just doing bootleg shirts of like horror movie posters, but kind of doing the Japanese movie poster style, with like the big old lettering and like the side shit, the way they kind of have it. And so this was a release that you could probably catch it when they do like an archive drop or something, because they occasionally reprint them. But follow them because they always do like archive sales or just they do reprint sales. So their stuff is somewhat limited, but it's like you'll usually get a chance to buy it again. So yes, it's Rucking Fountain, and please buy their stuff. Support good people making cool shit.
Awesome. I love that shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this movie. Like, it doesn't get talked about enough as like one of the best horror movies of the 90s.
No, perfect. I'm looking for somebody to do a video on that movie, maybe coming up in October.
What is it? Sorry, I can't see.
Demon Knight.
Oh, yeah, you love that movie.
Yeah, that's such a good, like, I mean, I grew up with Tales from the Crypt, so when they were like, we're making a movie, I'm like, yeah, all right, sign me up. I'm going to buy 10 tickets. And I even love Bordello of Blood, even though some people have a relatively sour opinion of that one. I find it to be hilarious. I also had a huge crush on Angie Everhart for like the longest period of my puberty years, so that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch the second one. I think even when we started watching it, I never picked it back up again.
No. Yeah.
It's pretty crass, but like at the same time, I just love the Tales from the Crypt vibe. Like I just love how unserious it all is. So the more of that, the better, I say.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We will hit the comments before we start.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got Ryan Swayze. Thank you for joining us as always.
What up, Ryan?
Hello, Peyton. What's up? We got Gene. Oh, Gene was over at Flet's.
Yes.
Flet's YouTube channel. Awesome.
Hi,
Thanks
Gene.
for coming on over. Aubrey.
Oh, there he is.
3 of my favorite people in the world. You know what? This is exciting because we have collabed with 3 of the core 4, and now it's like we're making it complete.
Yeah,
you got the 4 pieces together. It's
Yes.
like now you can like enter Apocalypse or whatever happens next.
And another person from the core 4, Mark.
Mark. Well, maybe it's Joey because Mark wouldn't be so nice to me.
You are way more than 25%. So sweet.
Now we're equal quarters.
Rob. Oh, yes. Let's talk about one of the most overrated remakes of all time.
Whoa.
Ooh. Rob.
Someone order the habanero salsa because it's getting spicy in here.
We need a core 4 and Our Life collaboration. I'm in.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm in. Name a time. Please tell Matty Aliens is still better than Alien. I
We've
can't
talked
say
about
anything. I don't
This
like either of them.
Well, I mean, good because you don't have a dog. It's like good to not have a dog in this fight. But they're 2 totally different movies. But Alien is a superior movie. Mark just likes to be Mark.
Which one do you
And
like
I
better?
love Mark for that.
It's so hard because what Matt just said is totally true. They're 2 different movies, but like if you have to go in from a standpoint of which one I'm gonna rewatch more, I'm gonna rewatch Aliens more.
A lot of people say that. I get it. I don't think it's a wrong opinion. It's just not my opinion because I think as I get older, Alien becomes so much more of like something that I can engross myself in. Whereas like Aliens kind of set the template for a lot of what we see now in Marvel movies. It's just like, all right, and this did this before that was cool. So like I want to give James Cameron the credit, but as I've told the story before about how Aliens was initially pitched, is James Cameron walked into a fucking pitch meeting with 20th Century Fox. He wrote the word aliens on the fucking board, or alien on the board, and then he drew a $sign at the end, and they gave him like a bunch of money to make this movie. So I'm glad the movie turned out great, but I love Alien. I will stand it and fight to the day it dies. So love you, Mark. Thanks for triggering me so early.
Movie Canon, thank you for joining us, Gio. I have not seen Dawn of the Dead. You know what? This was my first time ever seeing it. I
It's
have
so
some
exciting.
opinions.
Oh, okay. I love opinions, especially like unpopular ones because I have a lot of them.
I know. I posted that we were watching this last night, and everybody was tweeting back at me, being like, "Ooh, you're in for a treat! Ooh, like best movie ever!" And yeah, we'll get into my thoughts. I'll say it's wrong. Alien is a much better film than Aliens.
I love you, Rob.
Oh
know
yeah,
you.
he throws out the chirps.
Yeah, go ahead, spoil away. I don't care. Yep, you're in for some spoilers. First time, wow. I know. You know what? Zombies aren't really my thing. I watched Walking Dead for a few seasons. I liked it at the time, but there's just been so many zombies. So I don't know. It's not really my thing, but yeah.
It's an oversaturated genre.
Yeah,
Zombie
for sure.
fatigue is real, and we have The Walking Dead to thank for that. Which I never got into it. I tried so hard. Like I was like, this is a show. It looked like it was like hand built for me, and like I just couldn't. I don't know what it is about it. I just maybe, and also I do terrible at television, so like long form television like miss me with that shit. I've got wild ADHD. You're not going to get me to sit down and watch 27 episodes of something unless I can watch it right whenever the fuck I want. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just started watching Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And the first 2 seasons grabbed me, and I started on 3rd season. I fell asleep the other day, and it just kept playing through. So now I lost my spot. So now I have zero desire to go back.
Well, you've seen it, basically, is what you're saying. Like, I just consider that watched. If I fell asleep through it, technically I was there. So
Yeah,
if it's not good enough to go back to, I'll just chalk it up as a win.
I know. And 2, they have like the promo poster for like the last season, and they have like the list of characters that are on it. And I went through and I looked, and I'm like, well, all the characters that I really like following right now aren't in that. So I'm going to lose them all eventually along the way. So I've seen the seeing the show.
I mean, you've only got so much time in a day, right? So might as well spend it. And you only have so much of that time anyways that you can devote to watching a movie, right? You have other things. We have our jobs, our lives, our, we have to feed ourselves, bathe ourselves, all that weird shit, But like, so then you get the time to watch a movie. It's like, I want to make sure that something I'm watching, like I really either have to watch this, like, okay, someone's paying me or making me to do this, or I want to watch this. Like, I want to see this. I've maybe never seen it, or I have seen it. I need something comfortable. But yeah, it's okay not to go back to things. There's too much content.
Oh, yeah.
Man gets off porch.
All right, so Dawn of the Dead. Why did you pick this movie?
So I was trying to be really cheeky and like find something that had like an anniversary this year, and I believe it did. I think it has like a 20th or 24th, something like that anniversary.
Okay.
I was also trying to find something like in September. So I think this is somewhere near that. It might be actually early in the year. Either way, that was my thought process. And also, I haven't seen it in a long time. I was like, this is a good chance to go back to a movie that I think I liked a lot when I first saw it in the theater. And then I think over time, I have a different relationship to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you picked it because it forced me to watch a movie that I might not have ever watched.
You started to watch this movie.
I did. I turned it off after like 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
So now I was forced to watch it.
See, right? You either have to, you want to. Those are the only reason we do anything in this world. So
Yep.
I'm going to welcome one more person in here. Wilkie's Movies and Music. Thanks for joining us. And Mark has a point here. Sam loves remakes, so I'm curious on her thoughts on this one. Have y'all seen the OGs and what?
S&B? Oh, Sam and Brendan.
Oh, that's us. I haven't.
I have. I've seen it way too many times. It has been years since I've seen it. After watching this one, I would like to go back and rewatch it. This is the second time I've seen this movie this year, I think.
Seriously?
the remake or the original?
The remake, because we did a podcast. I did a podcast episode on it.
Yeah, you did.
So, and I think it was, maybe it was last year. So I've seen this movie twice in the last 2 years.
Okay.
And my opinions have changed since I've watched it.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay. I actually don't know what your original opinions were, but
yeah, you didn't listen to my episode.
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh my god. Offended.
That's a good out. It's like, I haven't seen it, didn't want to spoil it.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll do solo videos sometimes and we're like, did you even watch it? Did you watch what I did? Did you see what I made?
With my wife, it's like, I'm like, when I see her sometimes pop in, like we used to do the lives on Instagram, she'd occasionally pop in and be like, oh my God, my wife showed up. What's going on? She has, I won't say zero interest, but she supports me, but from a distance with my horror stuff.
Does she like horror?
She's not into it like I am, but she'll suffer through it when I want her, like when I want to watch something. And occasionally we'll make a lot of bets between each other. And it's usually like, she'll be like, you have to take me out to dinner. So I'm like, all right, that's totally fine. We don't have to eat. I like to eat. It's great. Nobody really loses here. But in my case, I'm always like, you have to watch a bunch of movies that you're probably I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to make you, I'm not going to purposely pick movies she would hate, but rather she's going to go in a little trepidatious. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Oh, nice. I should just start doing that with you. We can pick some really ridiculous stuff.
Oh, I was going to say I watch horror movies.
No, I know, but I can pick some really ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
You don't want to go into like material things, and it's like, oh, buy me these nice shoes. It's like, wait a minute. We are just betting on something totally innocuous here. We do not need shoes. Let's just make this a movie or a dinner.
Yeah. All right. I will get into the cast and stuff, and then we will get into this discussion. So Dawn of the Dead has a 7.3 on IMDb and a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Director Zack Snyder. Release date was March 19th, 2004. Budget says 28 million. Box office 102.3 million. Oh, it's a long synopsis. Okay. When her husband is attacked by a zombified neighbor, Anna manages to escape only to realize her entire Milwaukee neighborhood has been overrun by the Walking Dead. After being questioned by cautious policeman Kenneth, Anna joins him in a small group that gravitates to the local shopping mall as a bastion of safety. Once they convince suspicious security guards that they are not contaminated, the group bands together to fight the undead hordes. And this is starring Sarah Polley, Kim Poirier, Ty Burrell, Jake Weber, Kevin Zegers, Ving Rhames, Michael Kelly, Lindy Booth, Ken Foree. There's a lot of people in this movie. I'm
It's a
gonna stop there.
big ensemble.
Yeah. So spoiler-free thoughts. What are your thoughts on this movie?
So I love the original Dawn of the Dead a lot. Like, I think it is as close to like a perfect horror movie. Like, there's only a handful of those movies out there, and I think it is one of them. And so I think adapting it in any way is always going to be met with some form of like when Rob Zombie was going to do Halloween, it's the same thing. It's like, like this can't, the expectations are too high to be good. So, I think at the time when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is a lot better than I probably would have ever thought. And at that time, remakes, like horror remakes, weren't really happening at the same volume. We were still kind of coming off that Scream, hangover of like a bunch of slashers. So initially, I really, really liked this. I was like, wow, this is something different. It was starting to bring in the fast zombie trend, which 28 Days Later started a little bit before. And I really liked it. Over time, though, I don't think I like it as much. I like it for what it is like, it's like if you take the guts out of the Dawn of the Dead, like the core premise, and then just put a bunch of like really cool effects on it, that's this Dawn of the Dead, but it loses all the subtext, subtlety about and commentary on society that Dawn of the Dead had. So I think it's a lot of fun, but it's kind of like eating candy. It's like, oh, this feels really good when I'm doing it, but after the fact, I have nothing to show for it. I'm like, I just feel sick now,
Okay.
I definitely agree. I think this is becoming just a popcorn movie, and that's pretty much just all there is to it. I didn't feel that way the last time I watched this movie, and I think this movie is a little too big for its britches. I'm gonna say, like, there's a little too much going on with not enough story to back it up. I do think that it loses a lot of some core elements. You're saying with the social commentaries. I think even with the rules, it breaks from the original Dawn of the Dead, which is what the one thing you should be following is, because it's pretty basic and easy to do. And for some reason, they break one major rule of the original franchise, which I noticed last night, and I was just like, "The fuck? How did I never notice that before?" And why, like, I don't like it. Why did they decide to do that? So yeah, I think it's just got too much going on, unfortunately. And this watch, it went down some points for me.
Oh, okay. Okay, this was my first time seeing this movie, and everyone really hyped it up for me, and I just thought it was okay. That being said, zombie movies are not typically my thing. I really like Train to Busan and The Sadness, but those are totally two different situations. Like Train to Busan is so emotional, The Sadness is so extreme. So I don't know. This just kind of fell flat for me. Was this came out before Walking Dead, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like way
Yeah.
before. Yeah, so if I had seen this before the zombie craze, maybe I would have really liked it. But for me, this was just, I don't know. It was a movie.
This was the start of that. This was one of the front end movies that kind of kicked off the big zombie, like 20-year reign of zombies that we were getting. It felt like the Marvel fatigue we all probably feel now is the same as the zombie fatigue we felt in like mid 2010s, But I also don't think it's a bad movie. It's not like it's like one thing that I've come to appreciate about it, I guess, is that it's very good at what it does, which is like, and I think the Zack Snyder bias kicks in here, which is like, at the time, Zack Snyder was like, oh, wow, this guy's new and interesting. And he just remade this like really important horror movie, and he actually did a decent job. He didn't fuck it up, right? Like that's the one, that's the bar, right? He didn't like piss on it like a lot of remakes have a tendency to do. So I think he got a lot of credit for this, when at the same time, like, we didn't know what that was going to eventually become, which is kind of this like, again, no offense to any Zack Snyder fans, but I think the guy's fallen off quite a bit. Like, not just a little bit. Like, I think he's off the fucking plot with these like 4.5-hour movies that he's making for Netflix. That just like, dude, if you can't make a movie in 2 hours, like, hire a fucking script editor or something like that. Like, there's no need for this. So I think the Zack Snyder effect now is like making it hard for anyone. If you don't like Zack Snyder, it's gonna hard. You can see his like fingerprints all over this movie. But I do think to that end, like it does what Zack Snyder does very well, which is like really bombastic action, keeps things moving. It does have way too many storylines. Like the original Dawn of the Dead was just about people surviving. That's it. Everything else was subtext. This is like people surviving, and then this thing has to happen, and then this thing has to happen, and all these people hate each other, and then these people are locked away. It was almost like Day of the Dead mixed with Dawn of the Dead in some ways, how they kind of combine some elements. But the practical effects were kick-ass. Like the fast zombies work, but everything else, it just loses that like essence, that makes it special.
Yep.
And forgive me, but Zack Snyder, last night was the first time I've ever heard his name. What has he done?
He did 300.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
It's a very man movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
It's like Axe Body Spray, the movie.
Oh yeah.
What else has he done?
He did Sucker Punch. Did you watch Sucker Punch?
No, I haven't seen it. Okay, this
He's
makes a lot
done
of
most
more
of
sense.
the DC Batman, all those DC
Yeah.
movies that came out, like Superman, Batman, not the Christopher Nolan ones, but the ones with like Ben Affleck, and then
You're losing her.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
This makes a lot
you
of
have no
sense
Zack
now.
Snyder bias. This is amazing. Like, I almost want you to watch like some of his newer stuff, just so like you can look at it for like fresh, unaware eyes. Because
Didn't you just say they're 4 hours long?
they are, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like maybe you can like go. Maybe you see something like with your fresh eyes that some us can't see, of having to like suffer through this man's madness for like 30 years. Like the greatest thing he's ever done is The Watchmen. And that got maligned at the box office. So it's like, I can empathize for him trying to make good movies that nobody likes. So I have to go back to making crap movies that a lot of people do like. So
yeah, he did Army of the Dead too, right, for Netflix?
Yes, he did.
Didn't mind that one, I don't think.
It was also 2.5 hours long. Like that is a 90-minute movie tops. Like it's a heist movie with zombies. That premise has an expiration date. And you can't make that go for 2. I don't need everyone's backstory. I just need these to be cool kids. It's like a video game. I don't need to know everything about these people. I just need to know what they do, why they matter, and what kind of ass they're going to kick. Everything else just thrill me, right? Entertain me. So he gets lost in like the details and whatever. He's making money and making movies. I'm not, so I can shut the fuck up.
All right, we'll hit the comments here quick, and then we'll get into spoilers. Bitter Wolf is with us. Hey, buddy. There's some stuff I like in this movie. I've seen it more times than I care to admit, because I would always put it on when I was falling asleep drunk in college.
I remember watching this on my PSP. I had a PSP version of this movie, and it was the unrated, and I would watch it all the time.
Brother, I've got a Vita right here in this closet right here. It still works. Like God bless those old portable systems.
He also says Ken Foree and Ving Rhames are my favorite things about this movie. Rob says, I'm still struggling with this being 20 years old. That doesn't seem possible. I'm going to be dead soon.
Rob, you're going to live for fucking ever, and you're going to see every bad movie on the planet.
I've never seen the original. Yeah, me neither. Justice League, Snyder's best movie, Sucker Punch.
That's a hot take.
A lot of people like it.
They do, and you know what? I need to go back and rewatch it, because I saw it when it came out, and like I was like, this is so like this was like a precursor of what Snyder was going to make, which is this like disorganized, like beautifully disorganized trash, and that's what Sucker Punch kind of felt like. But that said, Aubrey's not the first person in the past like month who's been like, I stand Sucker Punch and I'll die on that hill every day. So maybe I'm wrong, but I should go check it out again.
I've never seen it. I got a buddy that just swears by that movie to this day. So it's wild.
And hello to my chunky Geordie. Thanks for joining us. All right. We'll get into spoilers then. So describe this movie in 3 words. You can start.
Oh my God. That's 3 words, but that's not the 3 words I'm choosing. Fuck yeah, zombies.
Fuck yeah, zombies.
Let's see. We'll go gory, fast. Disappointing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like my wedding night. I'm just that sounds awful. Gory, fast, and disappointing. Jesus. It's like I knew that punchline would be funny, but then I thought about like the details, and after I said it, I'm like, oh my god,
Oh my God.
that's awful.
I want the videotape to your wedding night.
Apparently, nobody else should see that if it's that bad. If that's what it's like, oh my god.
I bet you get quite the hits on YouTube.
we do love our trauma porn these days, don't we?
Absolutely.
Peyton says, damn. And Mark says, fuck yeah, zombies. So iconic. I went zombies overhyped. Those were my words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character in this movie?
Ving Rhames. That's so easy because he's just so cool. Like Ving Rhames is cool in everything he does, pretty much. And I actually do quite like what's her I think her first name's Polly, but I forget her name.
Oh, Anna.
Yeah, Anna. I actually like her quite a bit as a protagonist. But again, like she just feels very anonymous. Like there's nothing unique about her performance. Whereas like Ving Rhames is kind of this like weird like cop who loves this bro across the way. You know, he's like him and Andy just want to hang out. You know, have high fives, drink beer. You know, talk about dick size, whatever the fuck they do. But yeah, I really like his character, and I like the arc he kind of has, where he kind of like this guy's gonna be a huge dick, and he's kind of not a dick, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kenneth is very stoic.
Yeah,
that's what I like about him. He's very like bold. I put down like a whole bunch of characters, because I do like aspects about a lot of characters, but I'm gonna go with CJ. I like CJ the most. I think CJ has a lot of ups and downs too, just like Kenneth. Like he starts out a total prick, and then by the end of the movie, he's a team player, and he's built trust with this group that he at the first was not willing to let in, and he sacrifices himself at the end. Mm-hmm. Not on purpose, but he still takes it as a win.
Mm-hmm.
Does the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. He could have just been an asshole and not blowing up the bus.
Yeah, like the guy with Mekhi Phifer and his wife with the fucking baby. Like, come on, man. What do you think is going to happen? We know alcohol affects baby fetuses. So how is the zombie virus not going to affect your baby's fetus? Like, what do you think? No one wants to see that. Like,
Zack Snyder wanted to see that.
Yeah, he did. He really does.
We got it.
It's funny because I had CJ as my least favorite character, but then halfway through the movie, I put an arrow and put him up into favorite characters. Because I did not like him in the beginning, but then he won me over. But I think probably I also put the man on the roof, the other man on the roof with the signs. I liked him.
Andy.
But Anna, I think because she watches her husband and what I thought was her daughter, but when I read the synopsis was the neighbor. So she watches her husband die, and it's just, I don't know, it's sad. And then she just wants to help everyone. Like everyone that comes her way, she wants to help, even when other people are saying not to. And I don't know, I guess she's the good one. But I think CJ still is funny. Why are you looking at me like that?
Nothing.
Like I'm wrong.
No. I personally have an issue with Anna in this movie.
Okay.
I just don't. Personally, I don't think she is that great of a lead to follow.
Yeah, she's not like exciting or anything.
No, it just seems like she's background.
I know, and she's got this stupid love story that I was not convinced by, but we'll get into that later.
With Michael?
Oh my God.
I would rather follow Michael. I think he was more of an interesting character for a lead than Anna was throughout this. Like besides the opening, I think Michael was more interesting.
That's the one she ends up kissing?
Yeah.
Okay. I see. He looked like a Ryan Gosling wannabe. Like I didn't care for him either.
I mean, in the original, you had Francine, right? Who's like, she's your main kind of protagonist, but she's far more believable and interesting in her performance because she's very vulnerable. Like she doesn't know what she's doing. She has skills and she has competencies in certain things, but like, she's not not a Swiss Army knife of like can do it all. Whereas Anna is kind of a Swiss Army knife in this movie. Like she's the she's the solution to all problems. Like she's a nurse, right? She knows how to fix all these wounds. She's always got the right ideas. She knows not to do this. She's figuring out all the science behind how the zombie virus is working. So she kind of becomes a crutch the movie leans on rather than having faults like everybody else does. Like her only fault is that she falls for that guy. And that obviously
Right.
you don't fall in love in Zombieland, right? That's whatever.
Yeah, no
Right
trauma
after
bonding.
her husband, like I don't know, mourn him a little longer, girl. I did not fall for this.
We never truly know how long they're at the mall either.
I was
is
wondering
no
that too,
set
but-
time. It clearly hasn't been a season yet because this was set where again?
Minnesota, I think.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee. There we go.
Yeah.
So there would be a winter there.
Would there?
A nasty winter.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know Milwaukee that
Milwaukee's
well.
not too far from Detroit, right?
It's in Wisconsin, so like Wisconsin gets dumped on in the winter times. I don't know how far that is from Detroit though. I'm 2 hours from Detroit where I am in Ohio, but that's completely useless in relation to the actual question of where that is in Milwaukee. But
They're close to the border, aren't they? That's what I thought.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're in the northern Canadian hemisphere. We're close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, she I don't know. I just wasn't convinced. But yeah. So favorite characters, I guess Anna, but CJ won me over, so he's more so. I thought he was funny.
Okay.
Who's your least favorite character?
I don't know if he's my least favorite, but I it's not the way I like seeing him. So Ty Burrell plays Steve, that like sleazy salesman kind of guy. But like I know him, yeah, he's from Modern Family. So
guy.
like
yeah.
He's so funny in Modern Family that I'm like, and like I haven't watched Modern Family in a long time because it's just, it was a good point in time. We move on, we progress. But I like seeing him in this weird like shitheel role that he's in, and like I think he does a pretty good job being a scumbag. So I great job, successfully hated him quite a bit.
I put him down too. I literally just wrote guy from Modern Family. I did not like him.
I fucking love Steve. I think Steve is fucking hilarious. Every line he says is just delivered so perfect. I just love him.
Oh, he grossed me out.
He was a part of my ensemble that I wrote as my favorite cast members.
So who's your least?
Brent.
Who's that?
He's one of the three.
He's the friend.
The original security guards. He's the first security guard to die.
Not the guy from Frozen. The other guy. Okay.
Yeah, he's the other guy. I fucking hate him. He's so dumb. Like he's deserved to die so much earlier. His death is amazing, but I just say every word out of his mouth, it just drives me up the wall. I don't know why. It's just his character gets under my skin the most of everybody else here.
None of these characters are all that likable though. Like they're not like there's no character in these that I'm like, oh, I want to hang out with this person. Like no. Like I'm glad these people are in this mall together, and I hope the zombies get in. Like that's their fate.
I'd hang out with CJ. Actually,
of course you would.
Yeah. I don't think I'd like to hang out with Steve, but I'd like to hang out with Steve from like a bar.
No,
I'd like this. I'd like
go to one of
his
Steve's parties.
Exactly. And I just like to watch his interactions with other people.
Yeah.
Let's get his boat video.
Yeah, you go have fun on his boat. I'm gonna stay home. All right, we'll hit the comments here quick because I've lost track. Love the characters communicating on top of the roof. Yes, that was honestly probably one of my favorite storylines in this movie. I could have watched a movie just on that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you would have hated it. Okay.
No, I like that. I thought it was so wholesome. I love that man.
It's something to do in the original, and I think it works because, right, if you have to appreciate there might be other people, right? So there's this idea of how we would communicate. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Good addition.
I like the actor who plays CJ a lot. He can play such wildly different characters.
I agree. He's all over the place.
This is a vicious remake.
Hey,
Davey. Is this the beginning of Zack Snyder's obsession with slow motion shots of bullet casings falling? Dude can't let it go.
This is the start.
But this is definitely his most conservative usage of that, and I think appropriate. Whereas it gets a little if you take that out of his movies, you cut the running time down by like a third. It's insane.
Yeah. Even this, I think he went a little overboard. I even wrote a couple examples down.
Having said that, this version of Dawn is a total love letter to the original and a great modern zombie flick. Still, the original is a slow burn masterpiece. You've got to see it, Sam. As soon as you say slow burn, though, you've lost me, buddy. Don't know if that'll ever happen.
You'll have to be forced to watch it.
Big Rod, not driving, but I'm cooking. Been here the whole time. Hello, all. I gotta say, Matty is cracking me up. Welcome, Big Rod. I'm
Hey.
glad you're not driving.
You tell my wife that Big Rod says I'm funny. She doesn't laugh. I'm like, Big Rod's got my back.
Andy was awesome. Rest in peace. Was Andy the one on the roof that I'm talking about this whole time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The music montage was wild.
Yes.
All right. We'll get into best acting. Who do you think had the best performance?
They're not really that good. I mean, they're not bad is the thing. It's like it's not like they're just fine. And like, but I guess if I have to pick, I think Mekhi Phifer going all in as forget his character's name, but he's the husband of the pregnant wife.
Oh yeah.
God, there's such a huge cast in this movie. You can't even
I know.
find everyone quick. Oh, Andre was his name. I actually quite like. I think he did a decent job, like portraying like the manic husband. Again, amongst the sea of like completely careless characters that you have here that are just kind of they just exist. There's nothing in, like again in the original Dawn of the Dead, you had Francine, who's kind of like she's got the skills. She's coming from the news background. She's kind of got her own thing going on. You've got Flyboy, who knows how to fly a helicopter. You got Ken Furry's character, who's kind of like the military guy, along with his other pal. I forget his name. Like they all serve a purpose. Whereas here, like everyone just kind of is there. So yeah, give it to Mekhi Phifer. I like Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah, I'll do the same because I don't think anybody gets a dynamic range that he does. You never see Ken this like truly sad. You never see even Anna's character mourn in any kind of way. I guess Michael does get a bit of a backstory with some acting behind it, but I believe that's only in the director's cut. I don't even think it's in the theatrical cut at all.
Did you watch both or just one of them for this?
We just watched the director's cut.
Okay, that's the one I watched. I know I haven't watched the theatrical. I think since I saw it in the theater, so I don't even know. Like, I'd be curious to know if it's actually better because this does feel longer. Like, director's cut does feel long. He even says so much in the intro, right? He's like, says, "Oh, it's a Zack Snyder. That's my director's cut." Little do we know this will be a thing he would keep doing to us for the rest of his life. So
they add 9 minutes to the movie. I know the lady at the bus at the beginning when she's nude walking by. That's an added in scene.
I was so confused by that. I'm like, why is this chick naked? It's so random.
You know what? Why not? I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for nudity and horror. Everyone knows that, but like that was just so random. It was on the street.
There's a random.
You've never been to Milwaukee. That's what they do. Naked Walk 2020 or what is it? 2004.
Yeah. There's a random nude lady in the original Night of the Living Dead on the poster, so I think it's kind of like a tribute to that.
Oh, okay. Better Wolf says Jay Leno zombie equals best actor. I'm gonna go with the zombies. I don't know. I didn't really think anyone outshone anyone personally. I just thought everyone kind of played their role and everyone did fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't really blown away. So I'm going with all the zombies acting like zombies.
That's fair.
They did zombie quite well.
They did. Score and soundtrack.
To be honest with you, I did not really even like, as I was thinking about it, I'm like, I can't remember it for the save my life. And I just watched it earlier today. So
yeah.
No opinion.
That's okay. There's a couple like fun songs that I thought were played, but besides that, like I got no comment either.
There's like pop montages, but like I know there's music in it because I know that a movie without music, you definitely would notice that because music does add something. But the music is so, again, anonymous. Just like so much about this movie is just you could take it out and put it. You didn't have to call it Dawn of the Dead. If you just called this Zack Snyder's Zombie, you would know. They'd be like, oh, this kind of looks like Dawn of the Dead, but it's not. So
yeah.
Yeah, like you do get some good songs in here. You get the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash for the opening credits.
That's true.
During all the news reels and stuff like that, and then you get 2 versions of Down with the Sickness.
Yeah, that
This
The lounge music version.
yeah,
Yeah.
I call it the Sinatra version, which I actually will listen to that just by myself sometimes because I think it's amazing.
That's one of my workout playlists. Actually, it's just like the the Robert Goulet lounge version, just lounge leisure versions of Disturbed's music. That's it.
Oh, nice.
You listen.
No,
to
I'm just
that
kidding.
ver-
I'm completely kidding.
You listen to that version of Down.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. He does other songs too. Like there's
oh, I
this.
thought you meant just that song.
No, I'll listen to like other like he does like a whole bunch. He does like To the Windows, To the
Yeah,
Wall
you
by
showed
Little
me this.
John,
Yeah.
and WAP. He does like a version of, and it's all like Frank Sinatra inspired. Like it's just really funny.
I love it.
And then you get this weird elevator song, and I've always it took me a minute. I remember listening to it last night, and I'm like, okay, I got it. I know what song it is. Does anybody else know what song it is? It's that I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you.
Air Supply.
Is that what it is? I don't
I
know.
think that's Air Supply.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the elevator music in the background. He's like, oh, I really like this song.
Oh,
And
okay.
he smiles. Yeah.
I mean, that is a good song.
It is. It's an
Why,
amazing
but-
song.
That there wasn't music playing when they filmed that, and he just like improvised that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. The actor that portrayed CJ was in the film Invincible.
He's also in the TV show Jack Ryan. That's the last one I saw him in.
Okay. There's a lot of comments here, just people talking to each other. Fantastic soundtrack. Richard Cheese's version of Down
That's who
with
it
the
is. Richard
Sickness
Cheese.
is
Cheese,
incredible
yeah.
and perfect.
Great because if you shorten his name, it's just Dick Cheese. So
Yeah, I was wondering. I saw Davey put down Dick Cheese over something. I'm like,
Big
what?
Rod, Dick Cheese over Disturbed
Yeah,
all day.
I'm like, oh, okay.
that sounds like something you might order at a hot dog store, though.
Yeah.
Okay, cinematography.
Fine. Again, nothing. Like I think it has Zach's. I think you can start to see, and I don't think he's the cinematographer here, but I would be remiss if I didn't think that he had some influence on it. Working with Matthew Leonetti on this, you can see a lot of Snyder's signature stuff, like some of his slow motion, some of the way he likes to shoot gore, the really quick cut style that he's very used to when it comes to shooting action. So I think it works, but again, it is very much like, it's kind of feels like it's on meth sometimes, and maybe that's the fast zombie influence with the quick cut. I don't love that, but I do think when he does long takes, like especially the scene in the car when she's driving away in the beginning, like I think that's really well done. So when he does like these kind of really good scenic moments, or the part where they're driving at the end with like to the van and getting to the boat, there's some good shot action, but it's just very, again, like it's very vanilla. Nothing special too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think this movie is. I think it looks good. Not going to say that any shots particularly blew me away, and the overuse of slow mo, it really, really starts to get to me after a while. The one piece of slow mo that drives me bonkers every single time I see it in this movie is the toilet slow mo when he breaks the glass with the toilet, and then for some reason you have to see the slow mo toilet bowl smashing across the floor. What are you thinking? Like, what? Why is this so necessary, and how does it serve any sort of plot moving forward? Anything, even for dramatic effect, it does not work in this scenario. There's also like some weird during Andre's scene where they're having the shootout with the old lady, and it's like a slow mo, then it's like sped up almost when they're shooting back and forth at each other, which I thought was pretty jarring. Yeah, the overuse of slow mo is just fucking ridiculous in this movie.
I felt like this movie was super bright too. Like the grass looked like lime green, not lime green, but like I don't know. There's some weird colors going on.
Yeah, so I asked Sam about this last night. So like we upgraded my movie system a while back, and we watched this on the Scream Factory Collector's Edition Blu-ray.
Mhm.
And we were just like at the parts in the mall, and I'm like, does this look super blown out to you? And I'm not sure if like I had I didn't end up adjusting anything on the TV because at that point I was like, whatever, we'll just watch it. And I don't remember exactly how it looked on my PlayStation Portable, but I was like, this movie just looks super blown out, and I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of it is, I mean, they have, I haven't watched the 4K, but I'm pretty sure there is one now. I just have this thing, like, I'm just not going to buy a 4K just for the 4K. I'm going to wait for a sale or something. I'll maybe upgrade it then, but I watched the DVD as well, the Blu-ray as well. And like, it looks, and I have like an OLED TV behind me, you know, so that's what I was watching on because I was doing some other shit while I was doing it. I was watching it. And like, it looked good. But I do agree the colors didn't feel as sharp. They just felt kind of overdone. Maybe, and it is a bright movie, like, but in a different way. Like the original Dawn of Dead has like a very good use of, it uses color, but it's also like 70s color. So it's got that kind of muted grain to it that inherently like will make it less pop less, but it still works in the context of like that moment and that like the period they're shooting in. Whereas this, it does feel very bright, almost too bright, like for a horror movie. So I'm almost curious if maybe the 4K that they've put out does a better job of maybe putting in some darker highlights, because there are some darker scenes, but by and large, it's not a super dark movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I found the darker scenes worked like when we were watching this movie. It's just like, when they get attacked by, what's his name now? I can't remember, but the other mall security zombie at the beginning of the movie when they enter the mall, I just thought that whole thing looked washed out. His face even too was like, sometimes it was kind of hard to tell details in his face, and I was like, wow, was this ever fucking blown out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Favorite costumes and outfits. This is usually the category that I nail, and I didn't write down anything. Anyone else got anything?
There's not a lot. Again, there's nothing unique about it, right? And I guess, but if I were to answer the same question about the original Dawn of the Dead, like I'm not sure what I would choose. I'd probably just say, I don't know, Flyboy looks like he's got it going on. But like at the same time, this one, there's nothing like, again, I probably just go back to Ving Rhames. I'm like, yeah, he looks cool. Like I like Ving Rhames. So I'm just gonna throw my vote there, but with no reasoning, just because of pure bias.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's not a whole lot of crazy outfits. I think everybody dresses like the way they would be regularly. You have Michael, who just wears plain t-shirts and jeans. Like that's all you ever really see him in. Andre wears like Adidas or Nike clothing the whole time. Kenneth is always in a cop outfit. Steve is always wearing his suits. Everybody just kind of dresses to their own personality, but nobody particularly has an outgoing personality to wear something wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. What is her? Who's the? Is she Russian? The pregnant lady.
Oh yeah.
She has like a sundress on at some point, some pink dress with flowers on it. That was the only one that stood out.
There's a girl in lingerie at one point, I guess.
Yeah. Monica, whoever that character is, like. You don't even know her name throughout the movie. The only way I know her name was because you were looking at the cast, and I was like, "Oh, her name is Monica." Like, not once is that ever discussed in this whole fucking movie.
Yeah. Okay, memorable lines. I actually didn't write any down either for memorable lines. So if you guys want to go back and forth,
I got a few.
The one I only wrote down because I think it's funny is like, you know, what are you, a fucking doctor? No, I'm a fucking nurse.
Okay.
I just like that, you know.
I think this is the same thing with the last time I had like all CJ's lines written down because I think each one is great. Of course, you got Ken Forhey reprising his role, or not reprising his role, but reprising the line of "When there's no more room in hell, the dead shall walk the earth." CJ says "fucking nursery school." Let me see. The plan is you're gonna drink a nice tall glass of "shut the fuck up," which is stuff I say at work. I definitely tell that to people.
Jesus.
And then trust is the primary. Oh, you do got to say it to some people, and I say it probably too often. Trust is a primary ingredient in any relationship.
Okay.
Love how that what is that Cosmopolitan article he's reading comes back around.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
that Chekhov's Cosmopolitan. It's the film rule. You know, once you put a Cosmopolitan article in a movie, you have to reference it again. It's a rule. I don't make them.
Did you guys have any lines disliked? I didn't write anything down for that either.
Yeah.
No,
No.
I wouldn't say there's anything wildly dislikable in this movie. It does feel like most lines serve somewhat of a purpose.
Okay. What's your favorite kill?
I actually love I think in general the opening of this movie is outstanding. Like the way it opens up and just to pure pandemonium, and that little girl when she just jumps up and rips the fucking neck out. That to me is outstanding. Also love when they're leaving at the end, and Ving Rhames is just mowing down zombies with his shotgun right over the fence. Like there's some really good zombie head explosion moments there. So no one particular scene, but I said the beginning and the end of this movie work extremely well, just as far as like great kills, great scenes, wrapping up really nicely.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna go with, I like Brent's kill. I like the zombie that's like crawling the fucking pipes and then jumps on him. I think that's totally something that nobody would have saw coming in the theater. I think the last time I watched this movie, I think that was still my number one kill.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember seeing it for the first time when I first watched it, and I was like, "Oh, that is so cool!" I'm like, never would have thought a zombie would do that.
Yeah. I also went with the opening, but I'll say another one that I liked. It was when they're in the two trucks at the end and the guy's got the chainsaw and things are going all crazy and he accidentally goes right into the girl. I'm like, oh, fuck. That sucks.
And then he chainsaws himself.
Yeah. So I'll go with that one, I guess.
Such an impractical weapon. Like I swear, like whenever I see a chainsaw movie, like no one's gonna wield that. Like we're not Leatherface. There's only one person who can carry a chainsaw effectively, because everyone else is gonna cut their damn fucking arm off. Like that's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I wrote that kill down too, but the blonde girl didn't have a name until I read it. So I put blonde and Glenn, because Glenn actually gets a name and a backstory.
Yeah, that girl was so random. She was just there to be hot. I like the opening scene the best. They show that scene in 40-Year-Old Virgin. I haven't seen 40-Year-Old Virgin in so long.
Me neither.
I think
it's
I have
my
it
favorite
upstairs.
comedy of all time. It is perfect.
I gotta watch that. It's been so long.
I just see
Bomani Jones is like, fuck that motherfucker up. And then you're watching it at the end. It's like, oh, we're not supposed to be watching this. I could quote that movie. Don't even get me started.
Is the cop the same guy in Piranha 3D?
Yes. Yeah, Ving Rhames.
Okay.
He was also in every zombie movie for the next 5 years after this movie.
Yes, it's true.
I love that part because it highlights that I can't say that word.
Impracticality.
Matty was talking about big words. Let's make them smaller. But yeah, totally. Where'd we leave off? Least favorite kill.
I don't remember the zombie baby getting enough justice. I'm all for blowing those zombie babies to smithereens. So if I have to pick something, maybe more exploded zombie fetus.
Okay.
Not enough of that. If you're gonna bring a zombie baby in the situation, at least have the decency to blow it off with a shotgun.
At least go Z Nation level zombie baby kills.
Yeah, just don't even hold back. Like I want it to be. If you're gonna be cartoonish, might as well just have Johnny Depp and Nightmare on Elm Street levels of blood just pouring out of that tiny baby when it explodes. It wouldn't even. It might even make the movie better if they had the baby exploding scene. I don't know, maybe like a half star on Letterboxd better.
All right. I could have went a couple different ways with this. I think the dad actually got like I can't remember what her name is now. Who's the girl with the dog? Nicole?
Oh.
Nicole's dad was a pretty good emotional charge for a scene in this movie, which you don't get too many of. And then I also put down CJ's sacrifice, which wasn't meant to be one, but ended up being one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with the guy on the roof. Andy? Yeah.
Didn't even see it.
I was just sad.
Andy gets a wicked head blown off, though.
Yeah. I was hoping he would survive and go with the crew.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was my favorite character.
There's like probably some gay Zack Snyder fanfic out there where it's like Kenneth and Andy do actually, like, there's a separate version of this timeline where someone's wrote out the story where Andy and Kenneth actually go escape to the island together.
Yeah.
And they make a home for themselves as two gay men.
I love it.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't written it, I'm gonna.
I was about to say that.
Dawn of the Yes, that'll be called. Dawn of the Yes with the YAS.
Yes. I love that. Rob says the worst kill is the death of Romero's masterpiece.
Poetic.
Gore factor and special effects. I think we all kind of agreed that this was a good part.
This is where the movie excels, to be quite honest. And I think that's why I actually don't. I think why it does work is because it has that. Whereas like the original Dawn of the Dead had some gore, but obviously they're limited by budget and kind of time period. So I think that this is quite, it's like Dawn of the Dead if you wanted like the, if you want the version like the truck stop boner pill version of Dawn of the Dead, like that's what this is. It's probably like a really fast, wicked good time, a little gory, probably gonna fuck you up a little bit. But the effects what make this movie really work. I think without them, if it wasn't as hard, it wasn't as gory, it would be a complete mess. Like it would be such a slog to get through this movie if it didn't have good practical effects and it didn't have good zombie makeup. Especially again, like when the shit really hits the fan in the last act of the movie, they really pull out all the stops for the zombie effects. The scene on the fence in particular is just blowing people's heads off.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I can't say anything. I can barely say any bad effects about this movie. I think all the practical effects are done very well. There's like the odd like explosion or whatever that doesn't quite work very well. But I can never say that I noticed any like CGI blood splatter, if there was any. I don't think there was, but I think everything holds up very well.
Yeah, I agree. The little girl in the beginning, like her teeth, how like part of her mouth is missing is super gross. There's the one zombie that got the pole right through the head in the water fountain. I think it was in the water fountain.
He's the one in the sports store.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought all the zombies looked great and all the blood and gore, and definitely the best part of the movie. And Bitter Wolf says, actually, my fave zombie was the zombie lady in the wheelbarrow who got the pitchfork in the face. I forgot about her.
Yep.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Storyline and pacing.
I mean, so storyline, it's pretty much similar beats to the original again, but it loses some of the nuance of like survivalism versus like collection of like they're creating community here, which is in the original. They're literally surviving for the majority of the movie. Then all of a sudden the bikers show up. I don't think it really does much to tweak the formula, which is fine. But where it does run into problems is with the pacing. And this is a problem that Zack Snyder has in general with his movies. It's like he doesn't know how to keep the action going. 300 is the only kind of example of this not being the case. But like there's always like lots of action and then it just stops. And then it kind of gets really calm for a bit. And then lots of action. And he does it when like he said, it shows up when it matters. He kicks it off really strong. He ends it really strong. But the middle parts of this movie, you get to like an hour in and you're like, I need to check the time on this thing. Like how much time I got left in this thing, because you start to be like fatigued with these characters situation. Not a lot changes, right? Just more people show up and those more people don't necessarily bring anything except just a few new personalities to the situation. There's no like stakes necessarily, so, and the stakes are small. They're like so basic. It's like, oh, well, the dad is becoming a zombie. Oh no, poor him. Like, of course, all your loved ones die in a fucking zombie apocalypse. So like, we're not missing, like, it's not like those things are necessarily crucial here. I think what I actually would have liked a bit more is if they deviated a little bit away from, like, by sticking so close to the mall scene, you're inherently kind of tying yourself to the original's commentary on, like, consumerism. Whereas in this case, like, I think you could still use that mall, but make a commentary on, like, the 2000s at the time, like this hyper technology world and how it's affecting, how we interface with it, or not make commentary at all and just shorten the movie down. Like, I think I actually want to go back and watch the theatrical cut. Not right away. I'm going to wait like a year and watch it because I don't need to watch this movie again. But I want to see if there is a noticeable difference in pacing in the theatrical cut. Whereas, you know, even though it's 9 minutes, sometimes that 9 minutes cut the right way can do wonders for a film.
Yeah,
Yep.
I totally agree. I did check my phone a bunch of times to see how long we had been watching. I was fidgeting a lot. I like the fact that they call them Twitchers. Is that from the original?
No.
No? Okay, I kind of like that. But yeah, this is just not my type of story, I guess, personally. So that's just a me thing too. Again, I already said it. My favorite storyline was the guys with the signs. And yeah, I'm still really stuck on this storyline with Anna and this dude. I don't know what his name is. Michael. Yeah, I just was not convinced, and it bugged the fuck out of me. I was like, cry about your husband a little bit, please, ma'am.
No time. Fast zombies. Things got to move.
Yeah.
He's
Did you
gotta
know
move. Gotta
Dire,
move on.
dire straits increase the libido. So all of a sudden, they're just a bunch of horny rabbits in this mall trying to fuck each other because they're constantly not almost dying.
Yeah.
Oh, I have some plot issues with this movie. The number one plot issue being, and this is just minor, I guess, but like at the beginning of the movie, I know Vivian is the neighbor, but why the fuck does she have access to this house? And how did she get in this house? How is she?
It was her daughter.
That's what I originally thought too when I was like,
because the husband's reaction to her being there was like, oh, the daughter's up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's up again, kind of thing. Like, not like, what the fuck are you doing in my house?
He says she is here, and it's like, how? Like, do you just normally let this child walk into your house? Why is this child's parents not concerned that she is just so comfortable with walking into these neighbors' houses?
Is there a backstory that this child is being beat by her parents and they take her in frequently? Like, yeah.
Who knows?
It needs something. It needs that. It needs, because I agree. There's no reason for, if a child just walks into this house, be like, first of all, get out. I don't know what you're doing here.
I think it's possessed or something.
Yeah.
I'm like,
why are your doors not locked?
Yeah.
And how does this? Zombies don't open doors. We figured this out. So how? And all
or
of
kill dogs. They don't kill dogs either.
Apparently,
that's something we knew. We added to the canon in this movie.
Yep. Yeah. No animals were harmed in the making of this movie, which is something that was completely thrown out. So that thing has always fucking bugged me ever since day one. This is a Michael decision. Stupidest decision. One of the stupidest decisions I think I've ever seen in a zombie apocalypse. He chooses to switch his crowbar out with a fucking croquet bat for no reason. A weapon that will break versus a weapon that will never break. Drives me nuts. The last time I did this too, that was the same issue I had. The way the rules Zack Snyder decided to change, or James Gunn, because James Gunn did write this script. Mm-hmm. The way he changed the rules about the zombies, zombies in the original George A. Romero movies ate animals.
They did?
They would eat everything.
Okay.
And two, it didn't matter how you died, you would come back to life. That's why the spread was so instant. Because no matter how you died, you would just get back up. It didn't matter. The biting just only speeds the process. And it doesn't speed the process by like I would say the old woman maybe took 6 hours for her to change. And the Romero movies, it took anywhere from 12 hours to like 3 days, it felt like. So this is the issue I have with that, is that it had to start with one and then it would spread from there. So how is this not contained more easily? Because you do have it started at one spot. By then, we're so globally well known for news and figuring shit out that this would have stopped almost immediately. There's just no way.
They don't really explain it that well. Whereas in the original, they do try and make some steps to try and like explain what's going on behind the scenes. Like, why might this be happening? What are people's theories? You don't get a lot of that. Like in the original Dawn of the Dead, you get those news commentators. Like occasionally when they get the news and the TV turns on, you get to hear like how the media is talking about what's happening, and it gives you context as to what's like how you're supposed to relate to this. Like, oh, is it a virus infection, or is it something? Oh, is it like a Return of the Living Dead? It was a toxic thing, but they don't really give you enough of that here to really go off of it. They just say zombies, Yeah, fuck yeah, zombies, you know?
Fuck yeah, zombies.
It's literally just fuck yeah, zombies. If you're bitten, you're done. That's it. I don't know why they decided to change that, because I think if they change that, it would make sense for the spread and the downfall of civilization to happen so fast, especially with them being insanely quick zombies. Even the slow walking zombies now. If a slow zombie apocalypse was to start, we're surviving. It's just that plain and simple. Everything is spread so fast, technology wise, that the zombies wouldn't even be able to keep up with dying fast enough for us to not get a hold on this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like once this first zombie rose up and was like, I'm gonna bite the next person, and then say like they infect 10 people in whatever country this started in, we would have shut the fucking borders down.
Well, then there's no movie.
Well, that's true. I'd like to see a realistic zombie apocalypse where it does start in like an Asian country and they're like, yeah, okay, we just shut the borders down.
We're good.
We're okay.
We've contained the situation.
Yeah. I guess all of Europe.
I think we kind of saw like a little bit of that, right? Like, you know, the whole pandemic, there was like, this what would happen if some shit kind of, now granted, zombies are a little different. Obviously, zombies being out there eating people, that's a little bit more traumatic and probably a lot more death. But nevertheless, I think you're right. We probably would get a better handle of this, or we just would nuke ourselves. Be like, yeah, see you later, Cleveland, Ohio. Like, sorry, guys.
that was another thing I was thinking about too, is in Fear the Walking Dead, they actually, like, the military blows up cities. Like, they blow up Los Angeles and San Diego and stuff. Like, they just burned it to the fucking ground. And I'm like, as bad of an idea as that is, like, for any potential survivors within that area, smart idea to try to contain this. Incredibly smart.
Cruel, but effective.
Exactly. And you know what? These are war times. You got to make those fucking hard decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me enough time to get the hell out of there.
Exactly. Let me find a bunker quick.
You got more issues with the storyline?
No, that's it. Just them not rising back when, no matter how they died, just really pissed me off this time around. And I don't know if that's just because I was watching Fear the Walking Dead, and those TV shows are such a love letter to George A. Romero's zombie universe that kind of pairing it up with this one, it just kind of seems like a bit of a slap in the face, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Beowulf says Army of the Dead had the same pacing issue, which is insane because they were supposed to be running against severe time constraints and fast talking zombies. Talking zombies.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's like, I agree wholeheartedly with Bitterwolf on this one. Like, that's because it's a 2.5 hour fucking long movie. Like, a zombie heist movie should not be allowed to be longer than 1 hour and 45 minutes. And like 90 minutes, it should be like the goal, because that's the problem with all Snyder movies. If you cut out the fat, amazing.
Yeah.
Leave the fat in, Zack Snyder movies.
Didn't they launch a nuke in Z Nation too?
And at the Return of the Living Dead, they did it too at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They ended. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I think they did do it in Z Nation. It's been a long time since I've seen that one, but that show is just, it's fun. That show has zero responsibility in taking itself seriously at all.
Was there an offshoot of that called Black something, Black Friday or something? Or was it like a Canadian show that was on, oh my God, what was it called? Was it called Black?
It's Black Summer.
Black Summer, that's what it was.
Oh.
Yep. It is on Netflix. It ran for 1 season, and then it took years to put out a second season. And I think by the time they did, people had really lost interest. But it's like that Quentin Tarantino style, where they'll like show like kind of what happens at the end of, or they tell like from a lot of different perspectives, and then they intertwine and mix. But it's totally separate from Z Nation.
They're bringing back Z Nation.
I did see that.
Okay.
I did see that.
Okay, we'll get into favorite scenes.
I mean, I think the opening of this movie, again, I've said it multiple times, like the opening of this movie just works so well. It just introduces you to exactly what you're going to get. I also do quite like the rescue scene with like Andy, where they send the dog across. I'm like, that was pretty good, tense like scene. Even though I don't love the idea that, like, the dog, you know, the dog's held harmless from zombie attacks. Like, why? It's got a brain, like not a big one, but like it's got a brain. And I know Jordana would hate me for saying this, but like, you know, we don't need to show the dog getting killed, but like we should make it aware that animals are probably as likely to get harmed as human beings are in the zombie apocalypse.
Did you see
but I
my
do-
face last night when the dog started getting lowered?
Oh,
I
yeah.
looked at him and gave him the dirtiest look. I'm like, first off, I'm not enjoying this film. Second off, I have to watch this dog die. But we were
No,
good.
not Chip. They're not Chips. He's good.
Sorry to cut you off. I know.
Chip is the only survivor in this whole fucking movie.
Yeah. So be a dog in Zack Snyder's zombie universe. But I actually think that like is a very like well done scene as far as like using tension appropriately.
Mhm.
You clearly, like, if nothing else, we're always going to care about the dog. In fact, they've done studies about this, how humans generally do not give a shit how badly you treat people on screen, but as soon as you touch animals, that's where you really get people upset. Like, people will hate the Toxic Avenger has been maligned for decades because of its scene with the dog in the taco shop. And like, anyway, I'm digressing from the point. The point is that scene really does work when they're sending Chip across, and then Andy gets Chips, and then all of a sudden they find out Andy's turned. Then she goes to rescue Chips, but then gets fucked over by Andy. You know, it's all good. Just don't send your dogs to zombie land. That's the point.
Do you want me to say a couple?
Yeah, go for it.
The opening, obviously. I actually thought the Down with the Sickness song was pretty funny, where there's just people playing cards, there's people fucking, there's people just whatever. The whole pregnancy thing was kind of cool, I guess. Like, if I, like 10 years from now, if I never watch this movie again, the one thing I'll remember is probably this zombie baby thing. So, I mean, that's something, I guess. And I totally agree with the dog scene, him being lowered down. That part got me tense because I'm the same way. I don't care if you take the humans. I don't care if you take the kids, take the babies. For all I care, do not touch the dogs. I get upset. Like, do not touch my animals. And then the ending, I guess, where he just shoots himself.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess those are my favorite scenes.
Okay. I also have the opening. I think this is one of the best openings in any horror film. I also put down the zombie baby, of course, because, like you said, out of everything that you're going to remember out of this movie, it's going to be that. I actually put down the opening and closing credits I really enjoyed from this movie, having mixed in with the songs.
I didn't like the closing credits.
Where it shows them going off to the island?
Yeah, it was super choppy. It was like hard to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love it.
I don't even know if that was in the theatrical or not. I feel like that was added in, but I'm not 100% sure. It's just to add to the bleakness, because in the original Dawn of the Dead movie, it was supposed to have a much darker ending, and George went with a lighter ending. So I feel like this was the way of Zack Snyder getting to put this in, like, you know, but like, you could end the movie where it ends and shut it off, or you could stay and watch the bleaker ending.
Yeah.
Because at the original Dawn of the Dead, nobody was supposed to survive. They fly off in a helicopter, and the helicopter runs out of gas, and they crash and burn. That's how it was originally going to end. So this one,
way more realistic.
Absolutely. Like, they never filled it up. That was supposed to be like how that movie ended. And then this one, you get to see that they make it to the island, but it don't fucking matter. It's still overrun by zombies, so they still all perish.
Yeah, I just hope Chips made it and found some food or something and can survive another
snack on
few
zombies.
years.
They gave Andy all that food. Chips is set, right?
Yeah.
Chips is set. They gave Andy got the food. He doesn't eat it. He's a zombie. He's eating brains now.
Yeah. What else?
There's no one to give him belly rubs, though.
Yeah.
It's true. I don't know. Maybe the zombies will adapt and they'll be like, realize that it's not just man's best friend, but it's undead man's best friend as well.
There you go.
They learned to pet.
They can learn to think. I also put down with the sickness montage. I put the dinner bonding scene with Michael's backstory I liked. And I also like the going through like the sewer tunnel into Andy's place. I think that scene's very well done, as well as the parking garage sequence as well. I thought was really well done.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah. What was Michael's backstory? I think I might have zoned out during that scene.
he clearly lost his wife and kids. Well, he was divorced, and he find out he was a dad, but you could tell there's a little sadness. There's a little
strengths and the weaknesses thing where he's like, oh, my weaknesses, I was a terrible husband, but my strengths, I was a great dad. It's like, oh yeah, sure you are, champ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's your kid now, champ? Huh? Where is he?
Yeah,
Great dad, you are.
you don't even know where he was at.
Least favorite scenes?
I don't know if I have one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything that kind of got me so unnerved. Like I said, more zombie baby violence, but I don't know that that's an omission rather than an error of commission. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for me, it's just I was bored a lot.
Just the pacing.
Just yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any least favorite scenes either. I think there's just not enough of backstory for certain characters, or not enough inner turmoil for characters. Like, it would have been cool if maybe like one of the people from the van decided to start a rally and try to take over the whole complex, so they had to deal with that in some sort of way. There's just not a lot going on. It's just surviving. Okay, now we're going to go from point A to point B to point C, and there's not enough to keep you emotionally invested in these characters.
Yeah.
in the original, they make that interesting too, though. It's like the original is kind of slow, but it's because they make it interesting to watch these people try and survive in a mall. Like, they kind of shoot it in a fun way versus like a serious way. Like, they have that music, that wah, 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 like kind of the music they play, like the Robot Chicken, that kind of shit. Like that weird elevator music they play. Like, it's funny. It's almost kind of like, oh, this is what you would do if you were locked in a mall and there was a zombie apocalypse. This is exactly what you would do. You'd fucking fuck around and get all the shit you want and like make, rob the entire place blind and bring it into your own little hobby hole you've got going on over there. So they make that interesting because you're kind of there with them. You believe that they're actually surviving. Whereas here it's like everyone's too pretty and you're like, I don't really think you are. It's like you all are going to survive. Some of you are going to die, but like, I don't know. I don't buy any of this so far. And the pacing of it all doesn't really let you enjoy the funniness of the monotony of trying to survive in a zombie apocalypse. They just miss all of that. The humor here, again, is it's not organic like it is in the original Dawn of the Dead. It has to be like a one-liner or a joke or something.
Yeah, and they take out a lot of the interesting parts. Like, the pregnancy was pretty much put on the back burners for a third of this movie until it was like, oh, we kind of forgot about that. Maybe we should swing back around to that and try to explain that. Whereas in the original Dawn of the Dead, Franny is pregnant, and they have a whole long conversation about how they're going to deal with that, or how she wants to go about dealing with that. Like, there's a whole discussion on whether or not she should have an abortion, and then they have this inner turmoil about, well, maybe you should teach other people how to fly the helicopter because nobody else can, and what happens to you? Like,
What if you die?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of changing of dynamics in that movie when some people don't even agree with it. Like, Flyboy doesn't want to teach Franny how to fly the plane because then maybe he'll feel like he is useless from then on because he's not a very good shot either. So they're missing.
They're complex characters. I think you're hitting on like the part that like probably irks me the most over time is that the original has interesting, nuanced characters. This just has people stuck in a mall.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, and that was watching it this time was drove me nuts. The last time I watched it, I wasn't harking on it nearly as badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Last category is the killer. We've talked about the zombies a lot. Do you have anything to add?
They're the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Best character in the movie. Best characters, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything to add to it.
Yeah, they're zombies.
Yeah.
They don't follow the classic George A. Romero rules, which is kind of unfortunate, but I like that they were fast. I like the color. I like the change in the color of the eyes in this case. Like, they had like a totally different color than George Romero's is like white eyes or dead eyes or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, this had like Day of the Dead level of zombie gore in it, so can't complain.
Yeah. Scary rating out of 10. 10 being the scariest movie you've ever seen, and a 1 being not scary at all. What would you rate this?
Scary. Oh man, like a 5. It's not a very scary movie, but I mean maybe tense. But even the jump scares here are not that, like, there's not very many of them, and they're not well executed. So yeah. Big old 5.
I'm gonna go with a 2 only because I was scared for chips. That wasn't scary.
Of course. Yeah, I'd go with the 2 too, just to mark it up. Like, I've seen this movie way too many times that I saw Isaiah also say that he would like to admit, and I'm in that same camp. I've seen this movie far too many times.
Yeah.
So nothing of this movie scares me at all.
Okay. Rewatchability, and would you recommend?
I think it is rewatchable because it's so dumb. Like it doesn't have anything to say. Like it doesn't have any. Like there's nothing like you're gonna miss. You know. So it's like I think someone had said this in the comments earlier. Like they kind of passed out to it, watching it a lot in college. Like I'm pretty sure I was doing that as well. Like just it's such a good, it's an easy thing to throw on. Would I recommend it? I would. Even though I've talked a bunch of shit about it, I do think it is worth seeing, especially if you like zombie movies. Like I also am kind of in the camp of zombies aren't my favorite. They're not my least favorite, but they're not like top tier. So because of that, I was going to affect anything zombie related is going to have, you know, it's going to have to impress me a little bit more than the average zombie movie. But if you like zombie movies, I can see no reason why you wouldn't enjoy this. But if you don't like zombie movies, you're not going to get anything here that's going to make you reconsider your opinion.
Yeah.
So very slick, gory zombie movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Rewatchability, yeah, every few years for sure. I'll probably go back to this. I kind of like Matty's idea of going back and rewatching the theatrical version, maybe in a year or two, maybe in 3 or 4. Maybe when I get the 4K, I'll check it out again. I would recommend this movie. I think this was one of the largest zombie budget movies to come out in such a long time. And like we were talking earlier, this is what brought the zombie fame back up. Besides 28 Days Later, which introduced the fast zombie. So yeah, I think this is a highly polished. Even though it doesn't really how polished it is doesn't translate great over to when you watch it, because I think this movie has a lot of grain to it, but I think that adds to it. But it's very polished, high octane for the most part zombie movie that works fairly well.
Okay. For me, rewatchability, probably won't watch it again. Just not my thing. Recommend, of course. Everyone in the comments when I said I was watching it yesterday was so excited for me, which I'm sorry to disappoint people, but if that many people like it, of course I will recommend this movie.
I mean, this is an impossible question to answer, so I appreciate that whatever answer you give, there's no, it is the answer. But do you think that if no one told you it was good, and you just watched it, would you have arrived at the same opinion, or do you think you would have liked it a little bit more without having everyone kind of tell you the fanfare beforehand?
I think it probably would have been about the same, honestly. Maybe if I wasn't so tired last night, it would have been different too. I don't know. I think it probably wouldn't have changed my opinion too much.
If we would have cut out those 9 minutes of the director's cut.
Yeah, I don't know.
Precious 9.
Peyton says, I hate when cats die in horror movies. Yep. And zombies are super special to me. It's hard for me to say something bad about a zombie movie, even though I think most are not good.
Respect.
It's hard too, because zombie movies for me was what got me into like finding social commentary within horror movies. Like I remember watching George A. Romero's, not even George A. Romero's, it's Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead from the 1990. And I was like, damn, this is a good movie. And I feel like it has a lot more to say than what is going on. So I did some research and I found George's, like, zombies used to be my favorite subgenre.
Oh, really?
Huge. Oh yeah. I watched everything, I think, from like, I can't even remember, like 2004 to like 2014, like every zombie movie that came out, like all the bad ones. Like there's a Danny Trejo movie, the zombies, that I watched, and it was so fucking awful. But yeah, like there's some really good ones out there. Like La Horde is a really good zombie movie. It's French. It came out around the time as The French Extremity as well. Super fast paced, but a really good zombie movie. There are good ones. They're just far and few in between.
Yeah. All right.
Zombies are very much a gateway horror, I would say. They're easy. Like, them and Universal Monsters and slashers are like the 3 things that people will get started watching horror movies on.
Yeah.
And Jaws,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Final movie rating as a whole. We rate our movies with emojis. Poop emoji is a 1, and the 100 emoji is a 5. You can say like a low thumbs up or a high thumbs up if you're somewhere in between. But what would you rate this movie?
it's big old okay for me.
Okay.
Okay. I'm actually gonna go with an okay too. I was debating a high okay, but I think an okay is probably more than what this movie deserves for this rewatch.
Okay, I thought I was going to be the only one going down there. I'm going with a high eye roll for me personally. A 2.5. Yeah, high eye roll. I'm just, besides the guys with the signs and chips, wasn't really digging it.
I'd like to go back and listen to my podcast episode with Sean because I think I gave it like a low 100
Oh,
the
wow.
last time I watched this movie.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always why I love going back, and we talked about this before in the core four, or like going back and watching a movie that you liked or didn't like again at a later date in time can have such a revelatory experience for like your opinion, because you can all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I thought I really liked this movie, and then you watch it and you're like, fuck, I have to admit to myself I don't think I like this movie as much as I used to, and that's totally okay. Like there are so many movies that you outgrow, and there's some that you will grow into. Like Alien is a good example of one. Like, and I originally saw Alien, I was like, this is it? Like, this is what you're giving me? And like, I was like 10, I was like, I didn't know enough about anything to really be, I wasn't fucking Roger Ebert, I had I was like, wait, this isn't Star Wars. This isn't, I was also watching Trauma at 10 years old. So that probably explains how fucked up I became. But like, like it's just, there's, yeah, I lost my train of thought anyway, but whatever I was saying ended on a good point there.
Yeah, what was the movie that I watched that I loved and raved about, and then we watched it together? Was it Leatherface?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's so good. Like it was so good. You need to watch this movie with me. And then we watched it, and I was like, I was so embarrassed. I'm like,
like the more recent one,
good.
or like Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
No, the recent one. The Go Get 'Em, cuz.
Oh, no, okay. That's the 3D one.
Oh.
That's the Alexandria Daddario one. Leatherface is the one where he's in a psych, the psych hospital thingy, I think.
Yeah,
and he's younger.
Stephen Dorff is in it, right?
I don't remember.
It was supposed to be good because the two, I think they're like the two French directors that like did Maury and Bastillo. I think they were the ones behind that one, weren't they?
I'm not sure.
I just know the one girl in the diner is like, we don't have no money, and then they like start kicking ass and they leave. I thought that part was so sick the first time, and then we watched it. I was like, oh, this was a flop.
Yeah, it was Alexandre Bastillo and Julien Maury, and like, yeah, apparently like there's Lowell is a guy I do this Macabre Monthly with every month. Go figure, right? And he has talked about reading the original script that they had for that movie Leatherface, and apparently it's wildly different than like what we ended up getting, like in the good way. Like it's far better than we ended up getting. I guess the studio really fucked with it. But I thought you were talking about Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which is an absolute fucking classic, and no one wants to admit it. So they would just put their head in the sand.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I haven't seen it in fucking years.
No, I haven't seen it at
Leatherface is not my favorite or go-to franchise.
I actually like Texas Chainsaw movies, but I just haven't seen them all.
Nothing's as bad as the 03 remake, right? If Mark's still on, he'll chime in. That's just a good way to fish for Mark.
I know he loves that movie. I love that movie too.
I do too.
Yeah,
I think it's a great remake.
Rob says, a movie is bad if Sam gives it a score that low. She loves garbage remakes. Yeah, Friday the 13th, 2009 is my favorite movie ever. I'm saying it one more time just for Rob because he knows that he hates it when I say that. Yeah, I love Marcus Nispel, so I love the 03 remake of Texas Chainsaw as well. Just saying that one more time for Rob. Leatherface isn't that bad. Are you sure you're not thinking of Beginnings? No, I love Beginning.
I like Beginnings too.
It's so good.
Rob's just throwing out the comments right now.
No, I rewatched Halloween Resurrection for the first time since it came out, and I felt like I had to call everyone I had told that it wasn't that bad just to apologize.
It's true. It's true. It's not that bad. In fact, if it wouldn't have existed like right after H2O, it would probably be one of the better Halloween sequels.
I gotta revisit that franchise so badly because that's another franchise that I will never defend as being a good franchise.
Halloween?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really watch them either, really. I liked Halloween
I think
Kills.
I love the Halloween movies, but I'm also be the first to admit that it has some of the worst sequels in all of it's an example of the first movie being so fucking good that it carries the weight for almost every other sequel after it, in some respect. But yeah, I won't die on the hill of defending every single one of those sequels, but they're always trying something. They certainly are.
That's true. They were taking wild swings.
Like I did with Rob Zombie's movies. I hated them for years. I love them now. I've always loved Rob Zombie. That's just me. I like white trash. Okay, we will get into a few fun facts here. This movie's been out for a while, but why not? And then we'll take off.
Sure.
All right. When Ving Rhames, am I saying that name right?
Yep, Ving Rhames.
When Ving Rhames heard of a remake of Dawn of the Dead was in production, he tracked down producers to be in the film. The two zombies with missing limbs, the jogger missing an arm and the legless zombie in the parking garage, were both played by actual amputees. The same thing was done for one of the first zombies seen in the original Dawn of the Dead, 1978. Although he had strong reservations about some elements, George A. Romero professed to be surprisingly impressed with the film. Director Zack Snyder personally chose most of the music used in the film. A lot of the actors playing zombies were carrying remotes in their hand to discharge a blood cannon placed on their back. This would activate an explosion of blood behind them to simulate the effect of a gunshot to the head.
Awesome. I need that.
CJ's elevator line, I like the song, was improvised. There wasn't even any music playing while they filmed it. While they're stocking up on ammunition in the gun store, the music from the gun store in the original film can be heard playing very lightly in the background. I'll leave it at that.
Nothing else? What's that short one?
There's like 50 more, but I
Oh.
just don't want to read them all.
Shot in chronological order.
Yeah. So that's Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the
Well,
Dead.
I'm sorry, or you're welcome, Stan, for making you watch this.
You know what? I can add it to my letterboxd. I don't care. That's all.
There you
That's
go.
all I care
There you go.
about. I'm so like I have to record them when I watch them. So it's fun to see how many I can get in the year.
Yeah. How many are you up now?
I'm not sure.
Just out of curiosity.
Over 100.
No.
I don't know what though. But yeah, before we leave, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes. Macabre Matty on Instagram. I think it's just macabre_Matty. And then at Macabre Daily is our site. You can, and macabredaily.com. And then at Podcast Core 4 is our podcast. Those are the three places you could find me. Everywhere else, yeah, that's just luck, I guess. But that's where I be haunting the internet.
All right.
Awesome.
And what do we have coming up? You have an interview coming up this week. It will not be live.
Yes.
It's with Chad Archibald.
Yes. Director of Bite, The Heretics, and I'll Take Your Dead.
Yeah. What's our next live?
We were supposed to do a live next week, but it got moved, right?
Yeah. So we have a watch party next Sunday. We're going to watch Charlie's Farm, which is on Tubi and
Ooh.
Prime. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah.
well, I've heard
I haven't either.
mixed things.
So,
It's an
see you
Aussie
there.
slasher. It's an Aussie slasher. Yeah. So watch along on YouTube,
We'll try.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, maybe we'll try to get out another live this week since ours got moved.
We can do a tier ranking. We can do whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But thanks again for joining us.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks
you so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah, it's
Great to
nice
see you
to
guys.
finally complete the core 4 here
Yeah.
now.
I know, like Captain Planet. You know, if you put all of us together, we just turn into one giant horror Voltron. So
And thank you to everyone that tuned in tonight and chatted along in the chat. And have a good night, everyone.